Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
In this video, talking about holistic wellness, we're going to talk about a very important concept that's called relational wellness. Relational wellness. Us as human beings, we're very social and relational creatures, and it's very important for you to be able to keep the right company, to be able to communicate well, for you to be able to speak to the right people. But the most important thing about relational wellness is it talks about the power of association. That speaks to the company that it is that you keep. The people that you keep closest to you are the people who are going to shape your words, your thoughts, and your actions, and they are the people who are going to influence you the most. And as you are working towards your highest ideal, it is ideal for you to work with people who are in alignment with your highest goals, and for you to keep the company and the power of association with those people. One of the concepts I love to talk about is the ability to be able to raise your standards. And for you to be able to raise your standard in life, you need to get around where the standard is better, where the environment is better. Because if you let's just take tennis. I used to be a tennis player years back in high school. When I started playing, one of my coaches said to me that in order for your game to increase, in order for you to be a much better tennis player, you need to play the game at a higher level with other people who are playing the game at a high level. So just for you to remain on the court, your game has to improve. I was once in the C team, then I got thrown to the deep end into the A team, where a team of us went down to Sun City, where there was a number of the best tennis players in the country at the time congregated to play tennis, and we got wiped off the court. I died. People were hitting forehands and backhands and drop shots and serves at monstrous levels of speed that I had never even seen before. Or as a result, in order for me to try and stay on the court, my game had to rise. And that is the same with the game of life. In order for you to play the game at a high level, you need to be able to associate yourself with people who are playing the game at a much higher level. And the first thing about relational wellness is that you need to remove all negative people from your circle. Remove all negative people from your circle. It is very hard for you to become highly successful if you're constantly associating with people who are negative and who are going against your highest, constantly going against your highest values. I mean, think about it. There's a saying that says, if you hang around 9 negative people, you're going to be number 10, and birds of a feather flock together. So it's very important for you to pick the people in your life that are going to be positive and that are going to feed you and who are going to help you to grow and who are going to help you to rise. Because if a person really values you, they're going to spend time with you. They're going to make a concerted effort to make sure that your dreams are being realized, and they're not going to make excuses. They're going to make the time, they're not going to make the excuses. And those are those people who could be quote unquote your friends or people in your closest circle. Just do an audit. Find out how much effort you're giving into the relationship and how much effort they are giving into the relationship. And if there is an imbalance, you need to be able to rectify it. But the most important thing is to remove negative people away from your circle. I saw this quite a lot in university. I was lucky enough to go to Rhodes University, and I saw a number of people who they were strong academically, but they fell because they aligned themselves with people who are partying all the time, who are turning up all the time. Nothing wrong with those things, but if you don't balance it for the reason that you were there, which is to get a great education and then to get a degree, hopefully, then you came up short. And if that is your worthy ideal for you as a student, and then you hang out with people who don't necessarily have that value, not to say that they're bad people, but their values are in contrast to your values, and they ended up dropping out. They ended up failing because they didn't keep people around them who are going to help them to reach the worthy ideal. So it's very important for you to analyze the people who are closest to you and to realize, are they negative or are they positive, and try your best to remove negative people away from your circle. And it can be hard, but this will feed into the next point, which is, as old connections close, as old connections die, new connections arise. You shouldn't feel guilty and feel the need to stick to a certain group or certain individual just because you've known them since your childhood, or just because you've known them for over 20 years, and just because you guys have had great experiences in the past together. As old connections close, new connections rise. As we evolve in life and as we go through different stages, you will meet different people, and you'll go to different places, and you'll meet different people in your life that are going to help you to grow in that moment in time. And it's actually okay for you to let go of certain people and certain memories, because that was a different phase and a different stage in your life. For example, in primary school you had friends, you had your best friend in primary school, you had your favorite teacher in primary school, but you had to say you've moved on since to high school, you moved on to university, you moved on to a different stage in your life, and it would be detrimental to your growth and to your development, because you need different people with a different skill set and different worldview that will able to help you for you to reach your high worthy ideal. And for you would hold yourself back if you were to stay with the people who are necessary at one stage in your life, and now at this stage of your life right now they're not really that necessary. So that talks about relational wellness. So be able and be comfortable and be mature enough to be able to let certain people go, so that they'll make space for new people to come through. So as old connections close, new connections arise. The next thing is that seek out the top people in your profession or in the goal that you want to achieve, and associate with them. If you want to be the best project manager in the world, it will be in your benefit for you to seek out the best project managers in whatever in the world. And if you want to be a better speaker, a better leader, there's a great organization that's called the Toastmasters International, and just hang around with people who are there. And if you want to be the best DJ, the best artist, the best welder, the best cook, hang around with people who are the top in the profession, learn from them, ask them questions, associate with them, and you'll be able to become a much better person. It is very important that you keep the people around you that are in alignment with their highest ideal. So remember, your relational wellness is very important for you to go forward towards your success, because birds of a feather flock together. In order for you to raise your standard of living and playing the game of life, you need to get around where it's better, and the way that you can do that is get around people who are playing it at a better level and at a higher level. And don't feel the need to keep people around who are no longer serving your vision and you're no longer serving theirs, because it is sometimes the most mature thing that you can do is let old relationships die, so that new relationships can come to pass. And remember, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. You doing what you've always wanted to do simply because no one else is forcing you to do it, but because you have always wanted to do so inherently.
It can be the day that turns your life around. All you need is a reason to turn you on. Today my life changes. Now who can do that? Anybody. When can you do it? Whatever day you pick.